This is Bharat FM.
बजेगा भारत, झूमेगा भारत.
ये है भारत FM.
बजेगा भारत, झूमेगा भारत.
Namaskar, Sat Sri Akal, welcome and adab. You are listening to Bharat FM, a one-of-its-kind, multilingual, eclectic provider of entertainment, information and news to Indian Americans. Headquartered in Cincinnati, Ohio, Bharat FM airs shows out of Cincinnati, Chicago and Phoenix. We take pleasure in our ability to cater to your bhakti, chusti, sphurti, shakti and masti needs with our audio and visual shows. Check out bharatfm.com for our online program schedule and archives. I'm sure the content will definitely tickle your senses. Tune in via the 24-hour web streaming on bharatfm.com or via the Bharat FM app. More information can be procured at 513-488-5070.
Good evening, India. Namaskaram, Chennai. And good morning to all the listeners and viewers from across the United States, especially Cincinnati, Phoenix, and Chicago. That's right. So welcome to Storytellers Café on this Sunday, another edition of Storytellers Café, which is showcased on Bharat FM every Sunday, 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time and 11:30 a.m. Ohio time or Cincinnati time or the Eastern time. As you know, Storytellers Cafe, the USP is to listen to stories. We showcase storytellers from across India, around the world to the global Indian diaspora. So for the next 45 minutes, sit back, switch off all your devices, put them on silent mode, and listen to stories and get transported to strange and mythical and wonderland where you can forget all your troubles. That's the purpose of Storytellers Cafe. For as long as one can remember, stories have been a source of joy and wonder to all of us. I'm sure you'll agree with me. Stories have never failed to delight and divert. Navigating through these difficult, strange times, let us all be guided by stories which are presented as a celebration of life on earth. Stories of courage, hope, joy, and resilience. Of course, entertainment. The primary USP or the primary ingredient of every story is entertainment. Here I would like to quote Christina Baldwin, who says, "Words are how we think. Stories are how we link." So join me today in welcoming our guest tonight, who is from the wonderful city of Chennai, Tamil Nadu. We welcome Geethanjali Javed, who is a professional storyteller come educator. Gitanjali considers personal storytelling to be her forte. We'll talk more about it. Gitanjali will share with us what a personal storytelling is all about. Gitanjali runs an online academy called the Spotlight Academy, where she trains young adults in English and soft skills. She is also a certified POSH trainer, POSH. I will let Gitanjali explain that. Gitanjali also co-founded, along with other storytellers, MAST, Madras Association of Storytellers, which has just completed a year, and I have been fortunate to perform for them. MAST comprises of accomplished storytellers who conduct workshops, open mics, contests, as well as storytelling sessions of different genres for the public. You can log on to Facebook and search Madras Association of Storytellers. Their Insta handle is must_katha, and the spotlight pages on Facebook is geetha.shifa, and the Insta handle is Gitanjali_Javed. Javed is spelled as Javid. So join me, friends and listeners and viewers across the world, as we invite Gitanjali onto our studios, StreamYard studio. Welcome, Gitanjali. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram, good evening, Vanakkam. So thank you, Bharat FM, and thank you, Ushaji, for this wonderful platform. And you had been my idol, and now to sit and chat with you in this talk show, I'm so privileged and honored. So thank you.
You're welcome. We are honored to have you as our guest and to regale our audiences with stories. Gitanjali today has a very special story, one in Tamil. That's my mother tongue. So Tamil Gitanjali தேந்து நீங்க ஒரு கதை கேட்கலாம், and another story in English. It's actually a privilege and a pleasure to talk in the mother tongue, Gitanjali. Maybe as I'm getting older, I enjoy talking in the mother tongue. Of course, I know to read and write Tamil. So, சின்ன வயசுலேருந்து தமிழ்ல தான் பேசுவோம். தமிழ் எழுதவும் தெரியும், படிக்கவும் தெரியும். கல்கி, விகடன், சில கதைகள்லாம் சிவசங்கரி கதை அதெல்லாம் படிச்சிருக்கேன் தமிழ்ல. But I don't talk much. My husband and I, of course, converse in Tamil and English, but English is kind of a mixture of languages, has become the spoken tongue today. Anyway, welcome to Storytellers Café, Gitanjali. And like all episodes begin, my question to you is, can you tell us the story of your journey? You are an educator. Most of the guests who come on Storytellers Cafe are all teachers and educators, educationists turned storytellers. So can you tell us about your early journey?
Sure, Ushaji. So I had this brief stint as a teacher for 4 to 5 years. And then after, it was a long gap of nearly 20 years. And then my house became an empty nest, empty nest. So the children, they all just flew away, and I was alone in my house, and I was falling into kind of depression, to be honest. And then I didn't know what to do. And then all that I learned as a teacher, I had all the quintessential qualities everyone used to say. And I didn't know what to do with that. So I researched myself what I should do, because I was good in doing theater. I was good in acting in school and college, and my English was good. My pronunciation, everything was good. So I just put all together. And whenever I was in school, I used to insist my children to speak in English. Even way back 20 years back, I used to tell them, talk in English, talk in English. Whenever I enter the class, they would say, oh, Geeta Miss is in the class, we have to talk in English. So every time I would say, talk in English, talk in English. So that instinct was always there at the back of my mind. I need to teach children, English, even the middle class, the lower middle class. Everyone should be good in English. I had that instinct in me. So after all these years, when my house became an emptiness, I didn't know what to do. I researched myself, and then I got into Storyteller, especially for Chennaites. People in Chennai, we know Eric Miller. We always connect to Eric Miller. So Eric Miller was my first mentor. So he brought out me, the storytelling thing in me he brought out. And then slowly and steadily, I educated myself thanks to my friends, Google, YouTube. I did a lot of research. And then after becoming a kind of professional storyteller, and then I thought how I could use this storytelling into the education sector. So using storytelling, I started teaching children English. And then I started teaching them soft skills using storytelling as a tool. And that was a hit. And The feedback was amazing, and slowly I started developing it. The first one was Eric Miller, and the second one, to start an academy, I got the inspiration, to be honest, from Sharon Matthews, because she gave me the opportunity once in Gujarat. She needed an assistant and I was there. And so from her I got that instinct to start an academy, and slowly she also helped me. I developed afterwards later on, and then that came to the rise of the Spotlight Academy.
Wonderful, Gitanjali. For all the viewers, Sharon Matthews is another wonderful storyteller based in Mumbai and one of the founders of Mumbai Storyteller Society. When we set it up in 2019, it almost seems ages back. Sharon has moved on, and she has a wonderful organization called Story Nest in Mumbai. Yes, I know Sharon Matthews. Wonderful, Geetanjali. Can you tell us what is the soft skill training that you do? I've always been curious about soft
Yeah.
skills.
Yeah, let me explain you. So what I do is I narrate a story to the children. They listen, right? So I develop the listening skills, the concentration. They have to listen to the story. And after I narrate the story, I ask them questions. The children are hooked to the story, the concentration part, the listening skills. And then I teach them the vocabulary, the important words from the story. I choose stories in such a way that there are unknown words, new words for the children to learn. And then I pick up the vocabulary, and then I make them learn the story, read the story, right? And then they have to narrate the story. That comes in the form of communication skills or public speaking. So all these, come in the form of storytelling. That with that one tool, you can do a lot of magic, and also an holistic development in children. You tell a moral story. You impart all the good things to a child through a story. Nowadays, to be honest, we don't have moral science classes in our schools. All that is cut, I think. So through stories, I develop all the good things in a child, giving respect, treating each other with empathy, and all these things I teach them through stories, bringing up a child in all holistic ways. And that I do through stories.
Yes. So we call them character development stories or teaching value education. So it's known by different names. That's wonderful, Gitanjali, what you've been doing. And I want to ask you about MAST, I think, which you set up during COVID, during the pandemic.
Yeah,
So it's completed a year. Can you
yeah,
tell us about, because there has been so many associations, organizations that has come up during this pandemic and doing excellent work, because we need people, we need storytellers to be out there to tell stories, to keep people engaged, to bring people together, and to let them know that there is a kind of a space, mindful space where they can share, they can listen to, and also hold space for them if they would like to share. So, can you tell us about MAST?
yeah. MAST was formed exactly a year before. August, we all came together, a group of storytellers, we all came together to celebrate Madras Day on August 22nd. The 10 of us. And we just formed a WhatsApp group. And after the session, the WhatsApp group became vibrant. We had a lot of masti and all that going on the group. We were same, same frequency, like-minded people. We had a lot of fun in the group. And then we thought, why not we all come together as, must, and let us do sessions together from then on. And then what happened was we did a few sessions, but later on, 10 of us together, right? And then a few of them, one by one, they started to leave the group due to prior commitments, right? We cannot blame them. They could not do justice. They were busy with their own personal things. And so in the end, one by one left, and at last only 5 of us remained. That is Mohan Krishna. He's an ex-RBI, Gita, Bhagavad Gita expert teacher, and I think he is also an economic teacher. He dons many hats. And then we have Padma Jairam. She's a HR expert, now into theatre, and she's also into direction of plays and all that. And then we have Renu Meera. She's a psychologist, and she does this parent children relationship. She's a psychologist basically, and she is an expert in Tamil stories, especially historical, Tamil kavyam, they say, right? All those stories, she is an expert. And then we have Shifa Mustafa. I think you should know Shifa. So Shifa is a corporate
Yes.
trainer and a storyteller. So at last, all of five of us remain together, and we still continue to be in MAST. And so the logo or the motto of MAST is bringing people closer through stories. We want all kinds of people to come together and listen to our stories. In fact, that's why we even started stories in scripture, reading stories from different kinds of scripture. Even you were our first guest in that particular session. So we had a rabbi, Lee Wiseman, all the way from Washington, who used to join us for every session. And we had some stories from Buddhism, Jainism, Islam, Christianism, all kinds of stories from different scriptures. And we had a panel discussion after that, and it brought us a sense of togetherness on that platform. And that is what we wanted as MAST team. We wanted that. And now currently this is going on. Currently we don't have any plan, and that is our plan, I think, because this pandemic has taught a lot. So we don't want to have any plans. We're just going with the flow, but we do have a lot of ideas in our mind. So let's see how that works out for us.
I'm sure it will be a success, Gitanjali, when you are so passionate. And I know Shifa, who's your colleague, and what you're doing is wonderful. Storytelling brings the community together, and through MAST, you want to build a community and also bring everyone in the fold, and that is wonderful. I was a part of your scriptures, and it was fabulous to share a story from the Indian Hindu scripture along with other scriptures, world scriptures to listen. That's great. Gitanjali, இப்ப நம்ம வந்து ஒரு கதை கேட்கலாமா உங்ககிட்ட இருந்து? You said you need a song. So அந்த பழைய சினிமா பாட்டு இருக்கு இல்லையா, அதை வந்து கொஞ்சம் ட்விஸ்ட் பண்ணி பாட்டு பாடியே கதைகள் சொல்லவா, கதைகள் சொல்லியே மனதை வெல்லவா. So நீங்க இப்ப எல்லாரோட மனதையும் you can win our hearts.
Okay, I think I'll go with the English story first, and later I'll tell you why I'm for personal stories. So I think I'll finish my English folktale first, right? A Jewish folktale. Shall I? Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Storyteller in the ring, tra la 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 la. Here's a storyteller in the ring. Tra la 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 la, storyteller in the ring. Tra la 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 la, she's here to share stories. Story. The Tsar was on his way to his palace in St. Petersburg when he saw an old Jewish farmer cultivating his land. The Tsar was filled with wonder due to the looks of the old Jewish farmer. His beard was all black, whereas his hair on his head was all grey. So the Tsar walked to the farmer and asked, "I'm filled with mystery. What is the reason behind your unique looks, your all black beard, and your all grey hair? Can you explain?" He was a Tsar. The farmer needed to answer. The farmer said, "You see, the hair on my head was from the day I was born, whereas the hair in the beard, I started growing it after my ceremony of Bar Mitzvah." So what is Bar Mitzvah? Bar Mitzvah is a Jewish tradition, a Jewish celebration where they celebrate the coming of age of boys. So the hair on my head is old, whereas my beard is young, you see. "Ah, what a funny answer," said the Tsar. "Okay, Give me a word of honor that you will never reveal this answer to anyone until you have seen me 100 times. With that word of promise, the Tsar returns to his palace in St. Petersburg. Upon reaching the palace, he invites all the noblemen, wise men, ministers, counselors, and assembles them. He says, "You see, I have this puzzling question in my mind. I need an explanation." The wise men said, "Speak up. Why is the hair on the head turns gray long before than the hair on the beard does?" The palace fell silent. The wise men, ministers, counselors, they all became mute and they were filled with astonishment. They didn't know what to do and what to answer. And sensing this, the Tsar said, "Okay, I give you a month's time. Come up with an answer." And the court was dismissed. The ministers, the counselors, the wise men, they all collected together, unitedly, single-mindedly, devoted the time to solve the puzzle the Tsar threw to them. The days were numbered. Unfortunately, they couldn't come to a solution. At last, as a straw of hope to clutch out, one minister said, "Hey, I remember the day the Tsar returned to St. Petersburg from a certain village. So, only if you could trace the route to the village, maybe we can solve the puzzle." Having said that, the minister, he traces the route the Tsar took to St. Petersburg, and he reaches the same village, luckily, and he finds the same Jewish farmer cultivating his land, luckily. And the minister rushes to the farmer and he asks, "Excuse me, can you explain the reason for your unique look, the all black beard and the all gray hair?" He isn't a Tsar. Why should the farmer answer him? But anyway, "Alas, I'm not supposed to answer," said the farmer. The minister said, "I'll pay you well." Pay. And the farmer, he hesitates at first, but later he says, "You see, I'm poor, I'm old, so only if you could pay me 100 silver rubles, I may reveal the answer." The minister readily agreed to pay the 100 silver rubles, and the farmer received it. And he revealed the same answer he gave to the Tsar. With that explanation, the minister rushes back to St. Petersburg and he gives the answer to the Tsar. On hearing the answer, the Tsar knew from where he had gotten the answer. So he summons for the Jewish farmer. The Jewish farmer is produced in the court. The Tsar says, "All I asked was to keep up a promise. You gave me your word of honor. Now what have you done? Don't you deserve a punishment, huh?" The farmer said, "Indeed, I did keep my word of promise." The Tsar said, "You insolent fellow, how openly, brazenly you lie to a Tsar. I asked you to reveal the answer only after you have met me 100 times. But we met only once." The farmer said, "No, I did keep up my promise." He persisted. And then he opened a bag of 100 silver ruble coins. He took one coin and showed it to the Tsar. "What do you see, Your Highness? What is engraved on it?" "Your image. After seeing all these 100 coins, I've seen you 100 times. After that, I revealed your minister the answer. Now, what do I deserve? A punishment still? Ha 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 ha. You funny, witty, intelligent Jewish farmer. You don't deserve a punishment. You deserve an award. From that moment, the Jewish farmer was made the counselor in the court, and he was made to stay with the Tsar. And the Tsar took the Jewish farmer's consultation in whatever affairs he indulged in. He took his advice, his ideas, his views. And wherever the Tsar went, the Jewish farmer followed him. That's it.
Bravo, bravo, Gitanjali. I really enjoyed your story. A story which makes you think out of the box. A story which calls for you to use your gray cells. So, wonderful story. I love these stories. These are my favorites, when I talk to children or even adults. It's nice to ask them puzzle stories where the answer is hidden in the story. So if you're paying good attention, then you will know what the answer is. So, friends, you're listening to Gitanjali Javed on Storytellers Cafe this Sunday evening. Gitanjali is a wonderful storyteller from Chennai. I would request you to drop in your comments on the chat box. As you know, this is a recorded segment, but we would love to hear from you. We love to hear your comments. Please drop it in the chat box on the Facebook page. And we will certainly act on your suggestions if you have any, and we would appreciate your comments. So, coming back to you, Gitanjali, can you tell us a bit about your academy, Spotlight?
Okay. Before that, Oshaji, I would like to enlighten our viewers about this folk tale which I took in particular.
Sure.
Because, yeah, when I said bar mitzvah, it's a Jewish tradition. Did it ring a bell in you, Akka? I'm asking you the question. Did it ring a bell when I said bar mitzvah?
Yes. So, this would be akin to number Ponal ceremony, if I'm not
Exactly.
mistaken.
Exactly.
So, yes. So we
Because,
have all these things in common.
yeah,
I came across during my research about cognate stories, cognate languages, where there are similarities in culture.
yeah.
So, bar mitzvah is akin to number Upanayanam ceremony.
Yeah, exactly. So from folk tales, yeah, I think it's a treasure box of knowledge. I don't think all the the traditions or cultures are mentioned in the storybooks. It comes through oral storytelling. That's why we should give importance to oral storytelling, especially folk tales. It's a treasure box. We get to learn a lot of the culture, the tradition. How much will we learn from books, right? But from folk tales, it's so interesting to listen to a story as well as you gain some knowledge. And this is what we as storytellers should share to our children, our fellow people, like that. So I think after my personal storytelling, I think folk tale is my favorite because you gain a lot of knowledge from that. I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you for mentioning that, Gitanjali. And you said personal stories. That's your forte. That's what your profile read.
Yeah.
So, in India, you see that we are still very nascent in the personal storytelling field. Though we are coming up, there are spoken word festivals who do have only personal stories. But traditionally, our culture, we've been telling stories from our myths and legends, and of course, folk tales, and so many teaching tales, wonder tales, however you want to name them. They're all stories. So, what was it that attracted you to personal stories? So, can you share that with us before you venture into your story?
Happily I'll share because I would always say this: when I share a personal story, I don't share mine, I share theirs. Their meaning, the listeners. So, as a storyteller, when you're supposed to share a story, you have to make a connection with the listeners, right? But when you share a personal story, the connection is doubled or tripled, I would say. Because whenever, after I finish telling a story, the audience would walk up to me and say, "We just loved. I could connect. This happened in our family. You said it. We are so happy. You shared our story. You represented us." They would say, and I would feel, I mean, it gave me so much of joy, and that keeps me pushing to tell more stories. And my life, Ushaji, from the starting, from the day I was born, because I was born through cesarean in the 70s. And the 70s, it was a major issue, getting babies through cesarean is something, a big issue. And so from the day I was born, it was drama. It was always this roller coaster ride, adrenaline rush. Every part of my life, every stage of my life, 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, everything I had an incident. But thank God, it was a roller coaster ride. It was filled with the adrenaline rush, but the landing was safe. The landing was very good and it gave immense joy. After that, all that roller coaster ride, and then you land happily, and that is the best part and the blessing from God, I would say. So after so many good things happened in my life, so all I want to do is bring people closer. I just want to say, God is one. All of you come together. Why you want to fight in this world? Through stories, I just want to bring people closer. We are all one. Come on, let's just forget everything. You all just walking hand in hand. We are all one. Come on. This is what I want to say. And that's why I keep telling my personal stories. And I love sharing, because I really wonder how many of us would share personal stories, the most even intimate thing, the ups, the downs, the fall, the rise. How many of us would share? But I tell, because I consider myself as an open book. I don't have anything to hide. And I keep sharing. And yeah, I have no qualms in sharing personal stories. I love sharing. Yeah, that's why. And people enjoy. They say, "Geeta, keep sharing. It's so nice. It's so nice." So I keep sharing.
Yes. That's wonderful, Gitanjali, because it takes a lot of courage to share a personal story. So we are waiting at Storytellers Café to listen to your personal story. இது வந்து நீங்க தமிழ்ல சொல்ல போறீங்க இல்லையா?
ஆமா. Yeah.
சரி. I'm really eagerly looking forward to it.
Okay.
Yes. The stage is yours.
Thank you. துதி போர்க்கும் வல்வினை போம் துன்பம் போம் நெஞ்சில் பதிப்போர்க்கு செல்வம் பலித்து கதித்தோங்கும் நிஷ்டையும் கைகூடும் நிமலருள் கந்த சஷ்டி கவசம் தனை அமரிடு தீரமவரம் புரிந்த குமரனடி நெஞ்சே புரி. இந்த பக்தி பாடல 5 வயதான நம்மளுடைய கதாநாயகி ஒவ்வொரு நாளும் குளிச்சுட்டு பூஜை அறைக்கு சென்று இந்த பாட்டை பாடி தன்னுடைய இறைவனையும் பெற்றவர்களையும் மகிழ்வித்து வந்திருந்தாள். இப்படி இருக்கையில் அவளுடைய தந்தை அவளை ஒரு பெரிய பள்ளியில் போடணும் அப்படின்னு ஆசைப்பட்டார். நுனி நாக்கில் ஆங்கிலம் தவழ வேண்டும் என்று எண்ணி அவளுடைய தந்தை அவளுடைய அந்த பள்ளியில் சேர்த்தார். அதாவது கான்வென்ட் என்று கூறுவார்களே, அத்தகைய பள்ளியில் சேர்த்து விட்டார். அவளும் அந்த பள்ளியில் ஆடல் பாடல் பேச்சு போட்டி என்று மிகவும் சிறந்து விளங்கினாள். இப்படி இருக்கையில் அந்த பள்ளியில் ஒரு கிறிஸ்துவ தேவாலயம் இருந்தது. அதில் நம்மளுடைய கதாநாயகிக்கு ஒரு ஈர்ப்பு இருந்தது. வாரம் ஒரு முறை சென்று வந்தாள். பிறகு 2 நாளுக்கு ஒரு முறை சென்று வந்தாள். பிறகு தினமும் சென்று வந்தாள். பிறகு காலை மாலை சென்று வந்தாள். பிறகு பைபிளை வாசிக்க ஆரம்பித்தாள், ஜெபம் செய்தாள். எப்பொழுதும் அங்கேதான் இருந்தாள். இப்படி இருக்கையில் அவளுக்கு ஒரு நாள் பிறந்த நாள் வந்தது. உற்றார் உறவினர் எல்லோரும் வந்திருந்தனர். அதில் ஒருவர் கேட்டார், "அம்மா, உனக்கு பெருசானும் பெரியவளா ஆனதும் என்னவாக போற?" அப்படின்னு கேட்டாங்க. அதுக்கு சற்றும் தயங்காமல் அவள் சொன்னாள், "நான் ஒரு கன்னியஸ்திரி ஆக வேண்டும் என்று." கன்னியஸ்திரியா? அப்படின்னா என்ன? அந்த வெள்ளை ஆடை போட்டிருப்பாங்களே, வெள்ளை இப்படி முக்காடு போட்டிருப்பாங்களே, அந்த சிலுவப்பட அணிஞ்சிருப்பாங்களே அந்த மாதிரி சிஸ்டர் ஆக வேண்டும் என்று கூறினாள். தூக்கி வாரி போட்டது அங்கு இருந்தவர்கள் எல்லாருக்கும். இப்படி இருக்கையில் ஒரு நாள் அவளுடைய தந்தைக்கு பணிமாற்றம் வந்தது, வேலை மாற்று வந்தது. அதனால் அவளுடைய தந்தை அந்த பள்ளியிலிருந்து அவளை நீக்க வேண்டிய ஒரு கட்டாயம் இருந்தது. அவளை அந்த பள்ளியிலிருந்து நீக்கிவிட்டு ஒரு சாதாரண அரசு பள்ளியில் சேர்த்து விட்டார் அவருடைய தந்தை. அதனால் அந்த பள்ளியில் ஆலயம் இல்லை, ஒன்றுமில்லை, பைபிள் இல்லை, ஒன்றுமில்லை. அதனால் கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமாக எல்லாவற்றையும் மறக்க தொடங்கினாள். புது சூழ்நிலை இல்லையா, என்ன செய்வாள் பாவம் நம்மளுடைய கதாநாயகி. அதனால் சிறிது சிறிதாக மறந்து விட்டாள். ஆனால் எங்கேயோ ஏதோ ஒரு நெருடல், ஒரு என்ன ஓட்டம், கடவுள் எங்கே இருக்கிறார், எது உண்மையான பாதை என்று மட்டும் எண்ணிக்கொண்டே இருந்தாள். இப்படி இருக்கையில் அந்த பள்ளி வாழ்க்கையும் முடிந்து விட்டது. பள்ளி வாழ்க்கை முடிந்ததும் அடுத்து வருவது என்ன, கல்லூரி தானே. கல்லூரி என்று சொன்னால் என்ன வரும், படிப்பு வரும் என்று மட்டும் சொல்லிவிடாதீர்கள் மக்களே. எல்லோருக்கும் வருவதில்லை படிப்பு, ஆனால் நிறைய பேருக்கு வருவதோ காதல் தான். அதனால் நம்மளுடைய கதாநாயகிக்கும் காதல் வந்தது. காதல் வந்ததும் வந்தது, அவளுக்கு ஒரு இஸ்லாமிய இளைஞன் மீது காதல் வந்தது. காதல் செய்து இருவரும் இரு வீட்டாரையும் எதிர்த்து கொண்டு திருமணமும் செய்து கொண்டார்கள். வருடங்கள் கழிந்தன, குழந்தைகளும் பிறந்தது, குடும்பங்கள் அன்பில் பிணைந்தன, இணைந்தன. அதிலும் அவளுக்கு எந்த தொல்லையும் இல்லை. அப்படி இருக்கையில் ஒரு நாள் அவளுக்கு கையில் கிடைக்கும் புத்தகமோ குரான் எனும் புனித நூல், இஸ்லாமியரின் புனித நூல் அல்லவா, அது கிடைக்கிறது. அதை எல்லாவற்றையும் படித்து முடித்து விட்டோம், இது ஒன்றுதானே இருக்கிறது, இதையும் படித்து முடித்து விடுவோம், என்னத்தான் இருக்கிறது, கடவுள் எங்கே இருக்கிறார் எனக்கு பார்க்க வேண்டும் என்று எண்ணி அதையும் அவள் புரட்ட ஆரம்பித்து படிக்க ஆரம்பித்து விட்டாள். படித்ததும் அவளுக்கு மிகவும் இன்பமாக இருந்தது. ஏன் தெரியுமா, இந்த வசனம் எல்லாம் நாம் பைபிளில் படித்திருக்கிறோமே, இந்த கதைகள் எல்லாம் அதில் இருக்கிறதே என்று தோன்றியது. அவளுக்கு ஒரு புதிய உற்சாகம் பிறந்தது. இதை சரியாக படிக்க வேண்டும் என்று எண்ணி முன்னுரையிலிருந்து அவள் படிக்க ஆரம்பித்தாள். முன்னுரையில் அவளுக்கு கிடைத்த அந்த குரானில் பைபிள் வசனமும் கீழே காயத்ரி மந்திரமும் இருந்தது. அடடா, ஒளிமயமானவர் தானே இறைவன், தூணிலும் இருக்கிறார், துரும்பிலும் இருக்கிறார், எங்கும் இருக்கிறார் இறைவன், உன்னிலும் இருக்கிறார், என்னிலும் இருக்கிறார். அப்பொழுதுதான் நம்மளுடைய கதாநாயகிக்கு புத்தியில் எட்டியது, இறைவன் ஒருவன் தான். பாதைகள் வேறு வேறாக இருந்தாலும் போய் சேரும் இடம் ஒரு இடம்தான், இறைவன் தானே. நதிகள் எங்கிருந்தோ பாய்ந்து வருகிறது, ஆனால் கடைசியில் அது போய் சேர்வதோ கடல் தானே. ஆனால் அவளுக்கு இந்த எண்ணம், இந்த சிந்தனைகள் எல்லாம் வரும்பொழுது அவளுக்கு 40 வயதை கடந்து விட்டால் நம்மளுடைய கதாநாயகி. கடமைகளும் முடிந்து விட்டது, என்ன செய்வது என்று தெரியவில்லை. ஆனால் தன்னுடைய நல்ல எண்ணம், அவளுக்கு மக்கள் எல்லோரும் ஒன்றாக இருக்க வேண்டும், எல்லோரும் ஒற்றுமையாக இருக்க வேண்டும் என்ற எண்ணம் மட்டும் இருந்தது. இப்பொழுது கடவுள் ஒன்று, இறைவன் தான், பாதைகள் வேறாக இருக்கலாம், ஆனால் இறைவன் ஒருவன் தான் என்ற எண்ணமும் வந்தது. ஆனால் மக்கள் கை சேர்ந்து இருக்க முடியும் என்று எண்ணி அவள் என்ன ஆனா தெரியுமா, நம்மளுடைய கதாநாயகி ஒரு கதை சொல்லியாகிவிட்டாள். அப்படின்னா ஸ்டோரி டெல்லர் ஆகிவிட்டாள். நம்மளுடைய கதாநாயகி இப்பொழுது ஒரு கதை சொல்லியாக மாறி உங்கள் முன்னாடி இப்பொழுது உட்கார்ந்து கதை சொல்லி கொண்டிருக்கிறேன். இந்த கதை உங்களுக்கு பிடித்திருந்ததா?
ரொம்ப பிடித்தது. And Gitanjali, I'm so humbled when I listen to storytellers like you. I consider it my honor and privilege to host you on Storytellers Café so that not only I and all of us can learn so much and get inspired. இது ரொம்பவே ருதியான கதை. நான் அட்ஜெக்டிவ்ஸ் தேடுறேன் தமிழ்ல சொல்றதுக்கு. அண்ட் ரொம்ப அருமையா நீங்க இந்த கதைய சொன்னீங்க. ஸோ இந்த தமிழ்ல, ஐ நோ யூஆர் ஃப்ரம் சென்னை. தமிழ்நாடு. பட் எல்லாருக்கும் தமிழ்ல அந்த மாரி ஒரு கதை சொல்றது, அந்த கமாண்ட் ஓவர் த லாங்குவேஜ், அது உங்களுக்கு எப்படி வந்தது? பிகாஸ் நான் உங்கள வந்து ஆன்லைன்ல ஒரு தடவ கேட்டேன். ஹேமா சுப்ரமணியன் ஹூஸ் அ டியர் ஃப்ரெண்ட். அவங்க சொன்னாங்க, "நீங்க வந்து கீதாஞ்சலிய தமிழ்ல கதைய கேட்டிருக்கீளா?" அப்படின்னு. ஸோ ஐ வென்ட் அண்ட் லிசன்ட் அண்ட் ரொம்ப அருமையா இருந்தது. எப்படி இந்த மாரி, பிகாஸ் நானும் தமிழ் தான் பேசுறேன். பட் இந்த மாதிரி சொல்றதுக்கு அது ஒரு கலை வேணும். அது என்னது? அது என்ன சீக்ரெட்? அது கொஞ்சம் ஷேர் பண்ணுங்களேன்.
To be honest, Ushaji, at home we speak three languages because my husband is from Gujarat. So we speak a kind of, Kutch language, Memani. So that I have to speak. That is my mother-in-law's commandment that I have to speak. I have to learn. My children have to learn. So I speak that language. We speak Tamil. We speak English. We speak all these three languages at home. And then in spite of that, Tamil is my mother tongue, and that's why I love my mother tongue. Adanala adu apdiye I still have to improve.
Yeah, to tell a story, even if you're telling in English, well, English is not our mother tongue, but it's an acquired language, and we excel at it. We train ourselves by telling stories in English. And we also need expressions and words. I might have a list of English words and expressions which I can use while telling stories. So this is my go-to. This is my resource. But Tamil is our own mother tongue. But when you can have such a command, I mean, speak in that Tamil, how would I say? Is it Sen Tamil? The way one would tell. One should tell a story. So it is very nice to listen to that. That's what I'm telling. So that is an art at which you have excelled. So kudos to you. It was wonderful to listen to you. Your stories have been short and interesting. And I wanted to ask you this personal story that you told about yourself. You narrated it in a third person. Usually personal stories வந்து இது என் கதை, you start off with first person. So the third personல சொல்றது என்னது? Is that an art, or is it something that you like telling in a third person?
Because actually now, beforehand we told it's a personal story, otherwise it would have been a suspense, telling, and then last you say it was me, so it is a kind of suspense. That's why if you tell in a third person's kind of suspense is there.
Wonderful, wonderful, Gitanjali. Before we end our session, because I'm really enjoying myself, I enjoy all my sessions, but particularly this, maybe because தமிழ்ல கதை பேசுறோம், தமிழ்ல பேசுறதுக்கு எனக்கும் ஒரு வாய்ப்பு கிடைக்கிறது. I would like you to tell us about your Academy Spotlight, and what work do you do, and what do you think the future holds? Because we are still in pandemic and it doesn't seem to be ending. The end doesn't seem to be near. Might take another year or two, especially for India, to get everyone vaccinated. So what are your plans?
So currently in Spotlight, the only thing I do is I teach English. That too English without grammar. I don't want to bring in the grammar components and harass children. I wanted to make simple and sweet, because I'll tell you why. I have a story for that. In our house, we had a maid. She would speak excellent English. Can you guess, Ushaji? Can you guess? My maid would speak excellent English. Can you guess how she could speak that language?
You see, Madras is another provinciality which was ruled by the British. So we have the colonial construct. Or went to an English medium school. I really don't have a great imagination. You can, reveal the suspense.
The thing is, she's a maid. She worked in an Anglo-Indian house. As simple as that. I got that spark when a maid can learn English just by listening and frequently speaking with the owners. Why can't we make our children speak English simply by listening and speaking to them frequently on a frequent basis and improve their fluency. That is my idea, simple as that. That's it.
Wonderful. I
That's
hope
it.
all you listeners are listening to this gem advice from Gitanjali. Very simple. It's nothing, you don't have to source it out from a book about language, storytelling, how to learn a language. Very simple. Thank you, Gitanjali, for sharing. You are full of surprises. I mean, I am amazed and would like to know more about you since you come up with such wisdom. And I was myself surprised that Gitanjali is soon going to become a grandmother, and she is definitely a decade younger to me. And that's another kudos to you. So this is wonderful. And any last parting words for our listeners, Gitanjali, that you would like to leave storytellers with?
Listeners, keep supporting our storytelling tribe, and let's all come together. Let's all shed our what do you call, our inhibitions on religion, caste, creed. Let's all come together. We are one, and as Indians, let's spread our culture, our tradition. We are rooted, we have a great culture, we have a great tradition, especially if you're from India, and let's not forget it, and let's spread it through our stories, and let's all be together. We can be different, but still we can be together. That's it.
Very well said, Gitanjali. Very well said. And there's nothing that I need to add more except my job, which is to tell all the viewers who are the Indian diaspora listening in from the United States. I'm sure you must have enjoyed Gitanjali's stories in Tamil as well as the Jewish folktale. Please do drop in your comments. Let us know what you thought about this episode, this session. And Gitanjali, as you know, that Bharat FM has gone in the OTT platform. அது என்னதுன்னு என்கிட்ட கேட்காதீங்க, OTT. So Storytellers Café has been selected.
Over
So
the
in the
table. Over the table.
over the table, சரி, okay, as simple as that. I thought over the top. அதுக்கு தான் வாயை பொத்தியிருந்தேன். சரி. So we do have Storytellers Cafe on the OTT platform, the season 1, and season 2 and season 3 will be coming in shortly, where you can go online and listen to the stories on Bharat TV. Please do that, but do tune into Storytellers Cafe. Give us your feedback so that we can improve, we can bring in some wonderful tellers. In fact, there's so much of talent in India that I am myself kind of every time taken aback by surprise and wonder that let me showcase them. I get to learn in return. So thank you so much, Gitanjali. Namaskaram, vanakkam.
Thank you. Thank you. Vanakkam, namaskaram. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I have the job of playing the jingle and closing the session. See you all next Sunday with yet another storyteller telling stories in a regional language. Stay tuned. Okay. It's not playing. Why is the Bharat FM jingle not playing? 1 second. Okay, I got it here.
This is Bharat FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.
ये है भारत FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.
Akka?